Hello, fellow residents of Tamriel. It is the Beeve, and welcome back. It has been a while, I know. Peak season at my job has finally started to slow down, and it's going to give me a chance to put out some videos, so be prepared for some over the next couple days, next week or so. What we got up first here is the Magicka Necromancer. Now I know I've made that in the past, but the one we did in the past was with gear that was very easy to farm, very easy rotations, lightning staff, heavy attacking to keep up our Magicka. And now what I want to do is show you a build that is that's not a heavy attack rotation. It's just strictly a light attack rotation. We are using more single target and direct damage type of abilities to really put out some heavy hitting amounts of DPS. And this build right here is a lot heavier hitting than the heavy attack lightning staff one that we've seen before. This is a little bit more advanced. It's going to seem dynamic to most people until they get the rotation down correctly. After they get the rotation down correctly, you'll notice that it is very static and easy to do, but it's just getting used to doing so. Um, First and foremost, let's go over character sheet. 32,853 maximum magicka with a 1342 recovery, 16,199 in health, and 321 recovery, and 10,027 stamina with a 514 recovery. Spell damage sits at 2502 with a spell critical of 42.8. Spell resistance is 15,336. Physical resistance is 9774. Now, when I bar swap, you'll notice that this bar here has 35,812 maximum magicka. This is because I have a Maelstrom staff on the previous bar, and I'm not getting the 5-piece bonus on that bar from both my sets. So that's why you see the difference in magicka. I am using a Ghastly Eye Bowl food, which provides max magicka and magicka recovery. It does not provide health in any way, shape, or form. That is why you'll see me with 50 points in magicka and 14 points in health, just to make sure that I have enough health that I'm not super squishy. I am using the Shadow Mundus Stone, and all of my body pieces are in Divine, so I'm getting 19% more critical damage done. Inventory. We are using the Maelstrom Inferno Staff with a infused trait and a weapon damage enchantment. I am using Sioria's Perfect Inferno Staff with an infused trait and absorb magicka enchantment. My jewelry is all Sioria as well, all in Bloodthirsty with spell damage enchantments. If you don't have Perfected, it's not that big of a deal. Perfected Soria and Unperfected Soria, the difference between them is literally this 1096 max magicka, the extra 5-piece bonus you get. And that is literally only difference. You're not going to lose out a ton by switching to regular Sioria. It's not that big of a deal. My shoulders and helm, my monster set I'm using is Zon. It is definitely the hardest hitting single target helm in the game at the moment. I do have the head in heavy, and I left the health enchantment on it so that I'm helping out with a little bit more maximum health on this tune because of it. And I'm also using Spell Strategist. Spell Strategist is easily found in traders, or you can get it out of your Cyrodiil coffers. Zon is in Scalecaller Peak, obviously, doing it on Vet. And the Soria is farmed in Cloud Rest. You can get Imperfected in Normal or Perfected in Veteran. So those are the places that you can get those things. I go with Bloodthirsty on my jewelry because Necromancers have a passive that is gives them a higher critical chance rating against enemies that are in execute phase, and 3 pieces of bloodthirsty jewelry will give you more damage on execute phase as well. So the execute phase damage from bloodthirsty and from the extra critical chance, it makes a lot of your execute phase abilities hitting with gold jewelry 30% harder, and critting a lot. So it makes that execute phase fly by really quick. I like Bloodthirsty as well because there are a lot of dungeons and trial bosses where you have to rely on being able to burn through the last 25% to avoid a mechanic or a wipe in some sort. And the quicker you can do it, the better. So that is why I prefer Bloodthirsty. If you like Arcane, use Arcane. If you like Infused, use Infused. If you like a combination of the three, use a combination of the three. It's all up to you, honestly. This is just what I prefer. Now, champion points, real quick like. 51 in Warlord, 75 Arcanist, 49 in Tenacity. This would normally be higher, but we're not heavy attacking, so we don't need points in there. Just on the off chance that I'm in a hairy situation and have to heavy attack to get my Magicka back, I want to be able to get some back. That's why there's 49 there. I have 23 in Shadow Ward, and I have 72 in Tumbling. I do more dodge rolling than I do blocking, so I make sure that I reduce as much cost for my dodge rolls. Red Tree, 72 Ironclad, 48 Spell Shield, 49 Hardy, 49 Elemental Defender, 51 Thick Skinned, and 1 into Light Armor Focus. You can... These are subjective. You can take some out of each one of these here, take some out of here if you want, or a little bit out of here, put things into quick recovery if you like. It's all in how you want. So once again, green tree and red tree are very subjective. You can do how you like. This is just what I like. Now, to get the most damage output, this is what I would suggest blue tree at least. 66 Elfborn for 22% more critical damage. Done. The Elemental Expert, I have 64 points in for 13% more Flame, Frost, Shock, and Magic damage done. I have 11 in Spell Erosion for 1,097 increased spell penetration. I have 23 in Staff Expert for 14% more damage with light and heavy attacks. 72 in Master at Arms for 23% more damage done with direct damage attacks. And 34 in Thaumaturge for 14% more damage from damage over time abilities. Now, yes, we're losing out on our Exploiter here, but we're doing a lot of single target damage over time, or a lot of single target direct damage abilities. So this 72 is a good number right here. Plus, I like having this Butcher right here, increase the damage done with your light and heavy attacks by 5% to enemies below 25% health. So your light and heavy attacks are doing even more damage in execute phase as well right here. So it's a nice little trade-off, honestly. Skills, I am using Blockade of Fire, not Unstable Wall. I stole a page out of my Stamina Necromancer's book in this situation, and it worked out better than I was trying to not do it that way. That Unstable Wall, it does blow up and do a good bit of damage at the end. The problem is the uptime on it is it's 4 seconds less than the Blockade. And when I'm on my opposite bar, that's where all of my direct damage abilities are. And I found myself not getting too many of those direct damage abilities off before I had to bar swap back and reapply my wall, because it had exploded and went off. And a lot of the damage you're doing here is going to come from that blockade or that wall, because that is what that Maelstrom weapon procs off of. It gives you extra damage with your light attacks. And we're going to be using the elemental weapon from the Psijic Order line, which so we're going to be light attacking a ton. So keeping that wall up and not letting it fall off for long periods of time while still getting a lot of those direct damage abilities off is very important, plain and simple. So we went with the longer uptime blockade, and we started getting more damage output because I was able to do more of the direct damage attacks on the opposite bar. So that is why blockade. Skeletal Arcanist does not do a whole bunch of damage, but some passives in the Grave Lord abilities and other abilities. Him being out is gonna give me more penetration, and it's gonna give me better Magicka recovery in the process as well. Degeneration, once again, another thing that doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it is providing major sorcery, so that's nice. Mystic Siphon, I have this on this bar only. I'm not activating. I only have this on this bar. I'm not activating it. It's literally here just for the. While slotted, you get 3% more damage done. This is kind of a flex slot. If you are in a group that's not providing you with any type of major magic or minor magic steal, you can put Elemental Drain on here to be able to give yourself that minor magic steal. Or you could put a shield on here if you like running with a shield. It's kind of up to you, but it is a flex spot. You can put what you like here. If you wanted to extend your rotation and put like your barbed trap on here for your bonus damage, or put channeled acceleration on here, you could do that for your minor force. But that's all up to you. I'll leave that at your discretion. Inner Light. I have this for the Max Magicka and the Major Prophecy it provides, and I have my Glacial Colossus, which I like to refer to as my Hulk Smash, which he applies Major Vulnerability for 8 seconds, increasing the damage taken by anything hit by him by 30%. So that's a huge ultimate, plain and simple. On the back bar, we have Elemental Weapon from the Psijic Order, we have Stalking Blastbone, we have Mystic Siphon, we have Scalding Rune from the Mages Guild. Once again, we have Inner Light. And once again, we have Hulk Smash. Our passives, we have all of our Gravelord passives, because they're very important. The reusable parts makes your Blast Bones and Skeletal Mage reduce in cost. The Death Knell is the one that provides you with higher critical chance in execute phase. That is a must. Dismembering increases your physical and spell penetration by 1500 for having a Gravelord ability activated, which if any of these are activated, you have a better you have better penetration. And your Rapid Rot increases your damage done with damage over time effects by 15%, which when you mix that with the 14% that we put on the Thaumaturge, you're still getting 29% more damage from damage over time effects. So you're not losing out too much with by taking those points out of Thaumaturge. Bone Tyrant, I have them all filled out, but there's really only two that one is a for certain. You have to have Last Grasp. That is increases your max health by 1250. Death Gleaning is another one that you can put on if you want. If an enemy dies you're in combat within 28 meters of you, you restore 200 magicka and stamina. Living Death is another the curative curse and the near death experience. You don't need to have these if you don't want them, but corpse consumption is a must in my opinion. This is helping you generate ultimate for using some type of ability on a corpse. And the Undead Confederate is definitely a must, because when you have that Skeletal Mage out, which we will have him out 100% of the time, you get a Magicka and Stamina recovery increased by 200, which makes sustain so much better with this tune. Destruction Staff, we have all of our passives in it. We have all of our passives in light armor. And we have the first 3 passives in heavy armor. Now, you could skip the first 2. One's just giving you 362 physical and spell penetration. That's not making that big of a difference. It's really not. and 4% increase on health recovery and a little bit of maximum magic or a little bit of stamina and magicka returned for taking damage. Those two aren't that big of a deal. If you have the points to play with, you can put them in there. But Juggernaut, I would suggest putting in there. It only increases your max health by 2%, but that's better than increasing your max health by 0%, correct? All right, let's move on then. Now, Fighters Guild, you want to have your Banish the Wicked, so you're generating ultimate with killing Daedra, Undead, and Werewolves and things like that. I have all of my Mages Guild passives filled in. I have all of my Psijic Order passives filled in. I have all of my Undaunted passives filled in, all of my Racial passives filled in, and I make sure that I have at least 3 points in medicinal use, so that I am getting a 100% uptime on all of my potions that I take. Alright, so rotation now. Rotation, first off, we're going to make sure our Skeletal Arcanist is out, and I always call out a Stalking Blastbone and throw out a Scalding Rune, because they both take a couple seconds to hit. So I'll call out the Blastbone, I'll call out the Scalding Rune, I will hit a potion, and then I will start my rotation. It's Light Attack Blockade, Light Attack Skeletal Arcanist, Light Attack Degeneration, and then it'll be a bar swap. Then it'll be Light Attack Stalking Blastbone, Light Attack Elemental Weapon, Light Attack Elemental Weapon, Light Attack Blastbone, Light Attack Weapon, Light Attack Elemental Weapon, Light Attack Blastbone, Light Attack Elemental Weapon, Light Attack Elemental Weapon, Light Attack Mystic Siphon, Light Attack Scalding Rune, bar swap, start over. So it's long. It's very it's going to seem very dynamic, but you will figure out after a while it becomes, once you tighten it up, it's actually very static of a rotation, and it's very nice. Now, potions that I use with this, we already have Major Prophecy from the Inner Light. We already have Major Sorcery from the Degeneration. So we don't have to be using expensive spell pot potions in this situation either. We can use just regular Magicka potions, or Magicka and health potions, or Tri-Stat potions. What I like to use, if you mix together Lorkhan's Tears with Dragon Blood or Bile and Cornflower and Dragon Ream, I know those are expensive, and it's not something that you should go purchasing just to do this. But if you go fight a lot of dragons and you have a lot of Dragon's Blood and or Bile and some Dragon Ream, you can use the Ream, the Blood, and the Cornflower to make a potion that will, let me find it here, that'll, give you back Magicka, and will also give you your minor or your major intellect, so you get your recovery, and will grant you minor heroism, giving you one ultimate every 1.5 seconds, so you're able to throw out ultimates more often. These are kind of expensive. It's not it's not, I don't know how to describe it, honestly. Like, unless you're fighting dragons and you have a bunch of this stuff on you, it's not a necessity. I wouldn't go purchasing these just to make the potions, because the ingredients are too expensive right now, plain and simple. Maybe in another year or two, when people calm down on these ingredients and you can get them for a decent price, maybe then it'll be worth doing it. But unless you're farming them, it's not worth it. Just make regular Essence of Magicka potions or Tri-Stat potions or whatever. Just something that's going to give you back Magicka and give you Magicka recovery. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit this test dummy right here, and when I'm going to fast forward through it in the video so you guys aren't stuck sitting here watching me do this the whole time. But when we get towards the end, I'll slow it back down, we'll go over the damage, and we'll finish up from there. But I will be back in a minute after I kill this big thing. All right, so there we go, 72,193. You can see the one right above it. Very similar numbers, very consistent numbers. That's what I'd gotten when I was messing around before I had started the video. So very consistent, very hard hitting. Even though it's going to be fast forwarded through. You're going to be able to see that. Just keep an eye on like my Magicka bar. I never came close to being in Magicka trouble whatsoever. Now, granted, I understand that is a perfect situation type of dummy, but not having any type of Magicka issues and being able to put out that much damage, in my opinion, is awesome. Uh, I don't think there's going to be any type of trial guild out there that's going to scoff at 72,000. And if they do, they're just elitist D bags anyway, and you probably don't want to be in there. But 72,000 on that dummy. I'm not going to kick you out of bed for eating crackers, so to speak. If you're hitting that on that raid dummy, I want you on my team because you're doing good. But I think that's all I got for you guys. I appreciate you guys sticking it out, and you know, if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. Let your friends and guildmates know that we're making videos. We've already made ones for people that were struggling with combat. Now we're getting into making videos for people that have learned how combat works and have farmed gears and started getting better at what they're doing, and we can show more advanced things now so people can get into the harder vet things and not struggle with them. But that's all I got for you guys. Appreciate it greatly. Thank you guys for tuning in, and happy adventuring, everyone.